What's up guys, and welcome back to another episode of SMIE videos. My name is Nate, and today I want to kick off a short 3-part series on a topic that's very dear to me, which is networking. We're gonna go through some basic networking concepts over the course of the videos, just to kind of give a basic foundational understanding of how networking works, what it's about, and if you guys are up for it, stick around with me. Let's go. So, what exactly is networking? Well, in this context, networking is basically how we pass data and communication over an electronic or computerized infrastructure. But the concepts of networking kind of make up our everyday life. It exists in everything around us generally, basically. For example, travel. Let's say you want to get from point A to point B. You need to travel in a specific direction, whether the direction is north, or it's south, or it's east, or it's west. And in going in that direction, there probably are going to be like multiple routes that you can take to get to your final destination, right? And even in taking those routes, you're probably going to have multiple modes of transport that you can employ to get from one point to the next. So, for example, maybe you're going from the US to Jamaica. You could catch a flight, or maybe you could catch a boat. It could be a WestJet flight, or an American Airlines flight, or a JetBlue flight, or it could be a cruise ship, or it could be a shipping vessel, or it could be a luxury yacht if you're rolling like that, I don't know. Or maybe you want to go from Florida to Atlanta. And in this case, you could take the bus, or maybe you could take the train, or you could drive. Maybe you drive the 95, or maybe you take the I-75, or you take some local roads, or whichever. There are different modes of transport, different possible roads, but all of them possibly leading you to the same place. Or mail, for example. Now you can send mail by air, or by sea, or by land, and with any one of those mediums, you could choose multiple different routes to take to get the mail delivered, or you could choose different methods as well. Like you could do regular post, or you could probably do expedited shipper, or you could probably do carrier pigeon. The point is, there are so many of these things in our everyday life, and this is what makes up the whole concept of networking. So, to start off, I'm going to talk about 3 of the most basic concepts of computer networking, 3 of the most basic elements, which are routing, switching, and security. Now, these 3 core elements kind of form the basis of any network. Understand them and how they work, and you've won half the battle. So today, let's talk specifically about routing. Now, you remember that example of the bus and about mail? Well, that's pretty much what routing is all about. Routing in networking basically dictates how the data and communication will get from point A to point B. So think Google Maps, for those of us who drive. Type in a location in Google Maps and it's gonna provide you with turn-by-turn navigation to get to your destination. Or if you don't want turn-by-turn navigation, you could probably just type in the destination just the same, and then it gives you directions outlined on a map in Google Maps, and you can follow the directions to get to your destination. Like go straight, then turn right, then make a left turn at Albuquerque. But that's routing. That's exactly what routing is. It works just about the same way, right? Put in a location, which would be, in this case, the IP address for the destination, and then routing will tell you how to get there. Now, this is your typical network topology diagram, and what you're looking at is a very basic network design. In it, you have your service provider modem, which is this little device right here. You have your router, you have your switch, you have your wireless access point, and then you have your end user computers down here, right? This may look different depending on what type of network we're looking at, whether it's your home network or your office network, etc. This topology, though, kind of more resembles a corporate office network type setup. Generally, With your home network, your internet service provider tends to give you one device that functions as your modem and your router and your switch and your Wi-Fi, all four of these devices. And it's going to look something like this. This is your typical modem from your service provider, right? Or a typical example of it. This, if you look at the back here, or the picture of the back of the modem, you're going to see a number of connections. So you'll see this little round connection here is where your service provider brings in their services via their coaxial cable. And then this here is what gives you network connectivity internally to your network. And this is for phone lines. Now, this device also has Wi-Fi and it has router functionality, which it does internally, right? But in truth, modems, routers, and Wi-Fi devices and switches, they're all different things and they each serve a different specific function, right? Your modem connects you to your service provider infrastructure, which then gets you out to the internet. Your router does the routing for your internal network, as well as from internal to external to get you out to the internet as well, whichever site you want to go to or whichever destination. Your switch facilitates the trafficking of data within your network, and your Wi-Fi access point allows you to connect wirelessly into your network, right? All different devices with all different functions, which brings me back to this design right here. Although this is a typical design, it's very, very ultra simplified. But this is generally what your network design is going to look like. And the device that controls the routing on your network is this one right here, your router. In any network, your corporate network or your home network, your router is generally what controls your routing. Hence the name router. And it enables you to go to whichever website or service you want to go to. So if you want to go to Facebook, or you want to go to Google, or you want to go to Instagram or YouTube or Netflix, you get the drift. This is what gets you there. It's going to know all of the paths to get to your destinations. Or if it doesn't know the paths to your destination, then it's going to know another device that does know the paths. And that device is usually sitting somewhere on your internet provider's network within their infrastructure. Now, your router is going to control things like the best path to the destination, whether it be the fastest path or the currently working path, etc. It's going to know that. And it's going to have your domain server information, which is your DNS server. And this is what's going to take the URL that you type in. For example, if you type in www.google.com, and it's going to translate that URL to a specific IP address, and then it's going to get you on your merry way to your destination. Your router will also have functionality enabled like DHCP, which is basically just a fancy way of saying it auto assigns you an IP address whenever you connect to your network. Whatever you're connecting, whether it be your phone or your tablet or whatever device you're connecting. And your router can even control things like VPNs. Yeah, that's a lot to unpack there. I'd say it's safe to say that your router is like the brains of your network, right? I think so. Now, there's a lot more that you can say about routing, but probably not in one short video. Not to worry though, we're going to get to a lot of this stuff later on down the line when we start to dig more into how routing works and more advanced routing concepts. But from a fundamental understanding standpoint, this is what you need to remember about routing. It's the process by which your data and your communication will be able to move from point A to point B. Your Google Maps or your Waze of the computer world, if you will. Now, routing doesn't work by itself. And in our next video, we're going to look at the second of the three fundamental elements that we're going to discuss around networking, which is switching. So, thanks for sticking around with me on today's video. If you like the content, don't forget to give me a big thumbs up. And if you haven't already, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of the new content that we upload, right? Thanks for sticking around with me today, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.